This tank is completely infested by blackbeard algae, and today we're hopefully going to kill it off using a safe and easy chemical treatment. If you guys haven't already, please make sure you go check out my video on what causes blackbeard algae, because it's one thing to kill it, and it's another thing to understand what's causing it to make sure it doesn't come back. It's important to check that out because even if you do this chemical treatment, it doesn't necessarily mean you fix the underlying cause. So sure, you can kill it, but that doesn't mean you won't just get it again a couple weeks or months later. So it's important to understand blackbeard algae and what causes it. Now, in the past, I've used countless different chemical treatments in an attempt to get rid of this algae. Now, a lot of them don't work well, and there's one common problem I've had with all the different treatments I use, and it's that they're not selective towards algae only. If you add too much, there's a chance they're going to harm your shrimp, for example, or other invertebrates, and your plants as well, so you have to be very careful with them. Today we're using APT Fix. Now, I'm not sponsored by these guys, but I think it's a really interesting product, and I'm super excited to be testing it out for the first time. Correction, sorry guys, we're using APT Fix Lite. Now this is a super interesting product, and I did a lot of digging trying to figure out how it works because I'm a scientist and that's what's interesting to me. So according to the 2-Hour Aquarist website, it is a mix of carboxylic acids. Now that's not really important, but what's important is that they are selective towards algae. So this stuff won't be able to harm your plants, but it'll be able to get into algae and basically take it off. On the website it promises it's also going to not harm sensitive things like moss and other sensitive plants like Bucephalandra, which is super important because there's no other product on the market that you can use on your moss and other sensitive plants without running the risk that you're going to kill it off completely. Now, you can't trust everything you read, so of course I'm going to test this and dump a bunch straight on my moss and see what happens so you guys don't have to deal with the consequences. So today we're going to be dosing my 20-gallon long shrimp tank. Before we start, we're going to turn off the filter. It comes with a little pipette for spot dosing, and you can add 1 milliliter per 10 liters of water. So for a 20-gallon tank, I can add about 7.5 milliliters. One of the great things about this product is it will naturally be completely broken down by bacteria within 24 hours. So this means after 24 hours, if I haven't noticed any change, I can go in and dose this stuff again without running a risk to my tank. So let's now see if APT Fix Lite lives up to the hype. Hopefully it won't completely kill off my moss, and hopefully all the blackbeard algae is gone within a couple of days, but I'll update you guys and we'll see what happens. At this point, it's been a full month since I started working on this video, and it's not because the APT Fix Lite wasn't working great or took a really long time to do its job. That's not the case at all. I just got a little busy with school, things started ramping up, and I had to put this project on the back burner. But the APT Fix Lite worked super well and extremely quick, like almost instantly. So let's take a minute to talk about how good this stuff worked. Within a couple of minutes of dosing APT Fix Lite, I noticed that the algae would change from a dark black color to a bright red color, signaling it was dying almost instantly. This took a little bit to happen, but after a couple of days, this bright red had switched to a white color. This stuff had completely died off. Now, it didn't go away on its own. The shrimp didn't seem too interested in eating it. I don't think it's very tasty stuff, so I'd have to go in and manually remove it, but it came off super easy. I could take a hose and just scrape it off and suck it into a bucket and send it down the sink. An important question is, how much did I actually dose and how long did it take to kill this stuff off completely? And it's important that we emphasize on completely. Blackbeard algae is very resilient and it can evolve really quickly. And if you're too lenient with your doses and aren't adding enough, it's going to slowly build up a resistance to whatever chemical treatment you're using. So you have to be very careful to do this quickly and make sure you take care of all of it. Now my tank is completely infested. It's a 20 long, there's a lot of surfaces, and this blackbeard algae is all over the place. It's roughly 75 liters, so I can dose 7.5 milliliters a day, and that's just not nearly enough. So how am I going to take care of all of this algae and do it safely? What the APT site recommends is if you're going to use a bigger dosage and that isn't enough, it recommends doing it on a day you're going to do a large water change afterwards. So I did 3 times the dosage of 7.5 milliliters on my 20 long and did a 30% water change afterwards and found this was fine and there was no effects on the shrimp and sensitive plants in my tank. After that, this product will degrade naturally after 24 hours. So after every 24-hour period, I went in, checked the tank, looked for any areas that weren't turning red, signaling that the blackbeard algae was dying, and re-hit those with the 7.5 milliliter dose to get rid of all of the algae and make sure it was all treated. Now, I mentioned at the beginning, one of the big pros of this product is it's 100% safe for invertebrates and sensitive plant species. So in this tank I have flame moss, and I really wanted to put that to the test. So after every time I dosed this, I added an extra milliliter directly onto my flame moss to see if it would have any sort of effects on it. I did 4 dosages total, 1 large 3x dose on the first day and then a large water change afterwards, and then 24 hours after that I did 3 7.5 milliliter doses, each a day in between each other. And each time I did a dosage, so 4 times total, I also added a little bit to the moss to see what would happen. And throughout this whole thing, there was no adverse effects at all on the moss, and it's still perfectly healthy and thriving in my tank, which you won't see with any other chemical treatment. Like I mentioned, not sponsored, but still. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was KalemsFishtanks. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll have more content coming up for you guys soon. Peace.